Sometimes the forgotten places hold the greatest surprises. Jack muttered under his breath as he stepped onto the frost-kissed path winding through the northern Vermont woods. The early morning sun casting pale gold light across the wet pine needles and jagged rocks, each step crunching softly beneath his worn leather boots, while his breath formed small clouds in the crisp air, Bolt padding silently at his side, amber eyes alert and ears high, catching the faintest whisper of movement from the ruined cabin ahead, its weathered gray boards leaning awkwardly and the roof sagging under years of neglect, the scent of damp wood and moss rising from the ground like a memory the forest had kept secret. Jack's gloved fingers brushed over the fence posts leaning at odd angles, chipped and splintered by time, and he felt the weight of silence pressing against him, a stillness that could almost be heard, the kind of silence that reminded him of nights spent watching the mountains from the base camp, counting the stars and listening for distant echoes that never came. The cabin appeared slowly through the mist, half hidden behind a stand of hemlocks, and Jack noticed the subtle tremor in the earth beneath his feet, a rhythm so faint he almost dismissed it until Bolt froze, nose twitching, a low growl vibrating in his chest, his paw tapping against the ground as if pointing towards something unseen. Jack knelt, letting the tips of his fingers trace the uneven floorboards that led toward the back of the cabin, the wood cold and rough, each groove telling stories of seasons past and storms weathered. And then he saw it, a plank slightly raised above the rest, warped but intentional, as though someone had once tried to hide what lay beneath. Jack's heart thudded against his ribs, a mix of anticipation and reverence, and with careful, practiced movements honed from years of handling delicate instruments, he lifted the board, revealing a dark cavity that smelled faintly of iron and earth. Bolt pressing close, tail low but steady, as Jack's eyes adjusted to the dim light, revealing the glint of metal edges, old coins, and faded paper, the air heavy with the scent of history and secrets long kept. Jack inhaled slowly, feeling the pulse of the past beneath his hands, a heartbeat synchronized with the quiet of the forest outside, the wind brushing through broken windows, carrying whispers of storms long ended, and for the first time in months, a warmth rose within him, a reminder that sometimes the smallest acts of courage, the willingness to step into the forgotten, could awaken something magnificent, a treasure not just of gold and silver, but of stories, of memory, of life waiting patiently for the right hands to uncover it. Bolt nudged Jack's shoulder gently, a silent acknowledgement of the miracle found in that abandoned cabin, and together they paused, letting the sunlight filter through the broken roof, dust dancing like tiny fireflies in the golden beams, as the forest held its breath around them, the world feeling suspended, sacred, and full of possibility. Jack Sullivan carefully shifted the old coins and papers aside, revealing the intricate carvings etched into the walls of the hidden compartment, each line and symbol catching the pale light that filtered through the broken roof, the patterns whispering stories of generations long past. Bolt pressed close, ears high and eyes scanning every shadow, as though he could hear the echoes of history embedded in the very stone beneath their feet. Jack felt a thrill of anticipation mixed with a quiet reverence, the kind that comes when the past suddenly feels alive around you. He lifted one of the ancient papers and gently unfolded it, the brittle edges crackling softly, revealing a map with coordinates marked in careful handwriting and sketches of nearby landmarks. His mind raced, connecting the dots of what had once been a hidden network of paths and secrets. The wind outside swirled through the gaps in the cabin, carrying the scent of wet pine and earth, and Jack closed his eyes for a moment, letting the forest and the memories it held wash over him. The silence punctuated only by the soft rustle of leaves and Bolt's quiet, rhythmic breathing. A sense of purpose filled the room, a subtle energy that seemed to pulse from the walls themselves. Jack traced the outlines of a small, metallic key tucked inside the corner of the compartment, its weight firm in his palm, the smooth edges worn by decades of handling. And he realized this key could unlock a chest that held not just material treasure, but a narrative of lives intertwined across time. The gentle sunlight shifted, illuminating a stack of old journals, their leather covers cracked and faded, and he ran his fingers across the spines, reading the titles faintly stamped in gold leaf. a story waiting to be uncovered. Layer by layer, the moment felt sacred, almost suspended, as if the cabin itself had been waiting for someone to arrive. Bolt nudged his leg, a reminder that they were not alone, the dog's instincts attuned to the subtle changes in air pressure and sound, guiding Jack toward the center of the cabin where a small trapdoor was nearly invisible against the wooden floor. Jack knelt and pressed his palm against the latch, feeling the cold metal beneath his hand, the tension in the air palpable as he slowly lifted the door, revealing a narrow staircase descending into darkness, the musty scent of aged wood and minerals rising up to meet them. He took a deep breath, letting the crisp air mix with the earthy aroma, and carefully stepped down, Bolt following silently, but with unwavering focus, their shadows stretching along the walls, the dim light revealing a chamber lined with shelves full of artifacts, ledgers, and trinkets that spoke of decades of care and concealment. Jack's eyes widened as he discovered a small chest tucked into the corner, its surface engraved with symbols matching those on the walls above, and with deliberate hands, he opened it to find gold coins, antique jewelry, and letters that told stories of hope, survival, and generosity from those long gone, each item connecting him to a lineage of people who had preserved this secret. Bolt sniffed the air, nudging Jack toward a faded envelope at the bottom of the chest. He picked it up, the handwriting elegant and precise, describing the intentions of those who had hidden the treasures, emphasizing values beyond wealth, of kindness, courage, and foresight. Jack felt a warm sense of gratitude and awe, understanding that this discovery was a bridge between past and present, a reminder that even in forgotten places, remarkable gifts await those patient and worthy enough to uncover them. The forest outside rustled as if in acknowledgement, the sunlight shifting to cast a golden glow across the chamber, and Jack knew that this moment, shared quietly with Bolt, would mark the beginning of a new chapter filled with purpose, responsibility, and the kind of wonder that stays with you long after the treasures are counted. Jack Sullivan ran his fingers over the aged documents, the ink faded but still legible, revealing letters of gratitude and accounts of kindness exchanged long ago, each word resonating with the warmth of lives that had intersected with this hidden cabin. Bolt resting beside him, ears occasionally flicking at the distant calls of birds through broken window panes, the cabin itself seeming to exhale with the memories it held. Jack carefully arranged the coins and trinkets on a wooden table, scarred by years of neglect, the sunlight streaming through the gaps in the roof turning the dust motes into a golden haze that shimmered like tiny stars suspended in time. He leaned back against the wall, closing his eyes briefly to absorb the weight of history and the quiet magic of discovery, the forest outside alive with the gentle rustle of leaves, the distant drip of melting snow from branches, and the faint hum of the wind weaving through the skeletal trees. Jack realized that this place had been waiting for someone to notice, to uncover the legacy that had been left behind not just for material gain, but to remind him of the enduring power of care and foresight. Each artifact seemed to tell a story of hope preserved against the odds, of faith in strangers, of the subtle ways life rewards those who persist quietly in goodness. He picked up a small journal bound in cracked leather, the pages filled with sketches of the cabin and the surrounding woods, notes about wildlife and the changing seasons, the meticulous details suggesting a life devoted to observation, understanding, and patience. Bolt pressed closer, nose nudging the edge of the journal as if acknowledging the significance. Jack smiled faintly, feeling a connection to the anonymous author across decades, a reminder that even when unseen, acts of thoughtfulness ripple forward, shaping the present in unexpected ways. The cabin no longer seemed abandoned but alive with the echoes of the past and the promise of the future. Jack felt a sense of purpose settle over him, a calm determination to honor the history he had uncovered, to preserve it and carry forward the lessons embedded in every coin, letter, and carved symbol. As the afternoon light softened, stretching shadows across the wooden floor and casting the cabin in a warm, amber glow, Jack took a deep breath, letting the scent of aged wood and pine mingle with the quiet excitement of discovery. Bolt lying at his feet, tail flicking gently, and in that shared silence, Jack understood that this moment, the uncovering of hidden treasures, the bridging of past and present, was a rare gift, a reminder that the world quietly rewards those who look, who listen, and who care enough to notice the small, forgotten things that hold the greatest meaning. The forest seemed to hum softly in approval, the cabin standing resilient as both a monument and a sanctuary. Jack rose slowly, brushing the dust from his coat, eyes scanning the room one last time before stepping outside. The crisp mountain air filling his lungs, the snow glittering like diamonds under the soft light. And Bolt at his side, alert and faithful, ready for the next step in a journey that had already begun to change the way he saw the world. The ruins behind them now a testament to the hidden wonders that patience, curiosity, and steadfast companionship could reveal. And as they walked toward the tree line, Jack felt a quiet exhilaration, a certainty that the path ahead, guided by the loyalty of his dog and the wisdom of those who had come before, would lead to discoveries yet untold. Jack Sullivan stepped out of the cabin into the crisp afternoon air, the snow crunching softly beneath his boots as Bolt moved ahead, ears alert and tail low, the golden light of late winter casting long shadows across the pine-strewn hillside, each breath he took carrying the sharp, clean scent of frost and earth. Jack felt the pulse of the forest around him, the whisper of wind through bare branches and the distant call of a lone bird weaving through the silence. Guiding them forward, he paused to scan the horizon, the mountains rising like guardians against a pale sky streaked with clouds. The hidden treasures of the cabin now secured in his pack, Jack's thoughts wandered to the lives that had passed through these woods before him, each person leaving a trace, a story, etched into the land. Bolt stopped suddenly, nose twitching and ears high, sensing a subtle change in the air, a faint vibration underfoot that spoke of something unseen. Jack crouched, hand resting lightly on the dog's back, feeling the quiet energy of the place as the snow glistened around them, tiny crystals reflecting the fading sunlight, the tranquility of the moment mingling with a deep, abiding curiosity about the secrets yet to be uncovered. As they moved down the narrow path leading to a small creek, the water flowing over smooth stones and carrying with it the gentle scent of pine and winter air, Jack allowed himself to absorb the peacefulness, realizing that each step taken in these woods was a step deeper into understanding both the past and himself. He knelt briefly to examine a patch of frost-covered earth, noting small animal tracks and the subtle impressions left by previous travelers. The forest alive with subtle motion, the wind carrying whispers of distant events, as if urging him to listen, to notice, to remain patient. The cabin behind them now a sanctuary of memory and discovery. Jack and Bolt continued their journey along the creek, the rhythm of their footsteps in harmony with the gentle murmur of flowing water, sunlight breaking occasionally through the clouds to illuminate patches of snow and ice, glinting like tiny diamonds scattered across the landscape. The serene silence punctuated only by the soft rustle of leaves and the occasional snap of a twig. Jack's mind wandered to the stories he had uncovered within the cabin, the letters and artifacts revealing lessons of perseverance, kindness, and foresight, each one resonating with his own experiences, reinforcing the quiet resolve to honor the legacies left behind. As they reached a small clearing, the forest opening to a view of distant peaks and valleys, the vastness of the land stretching endlessly, Jack inhaled deeply, the cold air invigorating and pure, Bolt sitting faithfully at his side, head tilted, ears high, alert to the subtlest changes in their surroundings. Jack could feel the energy of the forest, the unseen currents guiding them forward, each element of nature a subtle companion in their exploration, the moment suspended in time, the snow, the light, the trees, and the gentle sounds of the wilderness creating a tapestry of calm and reflection. Jack stood slowly, surveying the land and imagining the stories yet to be discovered, knowing that the journey had only just begun, and that with Bolt by his side, each hidden corner of the forest held the promise of wonder, understanding, and the quiet magic of discovery, the world around them breathing softly. A living reminder that patience, curiosity, and attentiveness could reveal treasures far beyond material wealth. Each step into the forest a step deeper into connection with history, nature, and the enduring spirit of exploration. Jack Sullivan and Bolt moved deeper into the forest, the canopy above filtering the afternoon sunlight into golden streaks that danced across the snow-dusted ground. Each breath Jack took sharp and invigorating, carrying the faint scent of pine and the earthy aroma of melting snow. He paused at the edge of a frozen stream, the water beneath clear and glassy, reflecting the sky like a mirror. Bolt sniffing at the bank, tail low but flicking with quiet anticipation, Jack knelt to examine a cluster of unusual stones partially hidden beneath the snow, their surfaces worn smooth by years of water and ice. And as he shifted them gently with gloved hands, a small cavity was revealed, containing a bundle of parchment wrapped carefully in faded ribbon, the delicate scent of old paper rising as he lifted it, each page filled with neat handwriting and sketches of the surrounding land, detailing hidden paths, landmarks, and the careful preservation of the treasures they had uncovered in the cabin. Jack felt the thrill of discovery mingle with a profound sense of responsibility, understanding that these were not mere artifacts but a guide, a map created to ensure the wisdom and generosity of past caretakers would continue to influence those who came after. The wind whispered softly through the pines, carrying with it the subtle rustle of snow from the branches above, and Jack allowed himself a quiet moment to listen, to feel the pulse of the forest, the rhythm of life that had persisted despite storms and solitude. Bolt pressed close, nudging Jack gently, a reminder of loyalty and companionship that grounded him amidst the enormity of the discovery. Jack carefully studied the maps, tracing the lines and markings with his finger, imagining the hands that had once drawn them, the patience, care, and foresight required to leave such a precise record. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows that stretched across the glistening snow, the light catching the edges of the parchments, making them glow softly as if acknowledging the diligence of those who had hidden them. Jack tucked the bundle into his pack, feeling the weight of history and the promise of continued exploration, each artifact and document a testament to the interconnectedness of past and present. The stream gurgled quietly as he and Bolt followed its edge, the trail narrowing and winding through dense stands of spruce and fir, the silence of the forest punctuated only by the occasional call of a distant bird. Jack's heart swelled with a quiet gratitude, a recognition that discovery was not simply the act of finding, but the act of understanding, honoring, and preserving what had been entrusted to him. The snow crunched softly beneath their feet as they moved, Bolt alert to every subtle change in terrain or scent, guiding Jack with instincts honed through years of service. Jack's mind replayed the letters, coins, and trinkets from the cabin, each telling a story of resilience, foresight, and quiet generosity. The forest itself seeming to embrace them, the trees swaying gently, the sunlight shifting through the canopy, illuminating the path ahead with a soft, golden glow. And as they emerged into a small clearing, Jack paused, taking in the vast expanse of the wilderness before him, the mountains rising in the distance, the valleys below, and the snow sparkling like diamonds scattered across the earth. Bolt sitting faithfully by his side, Jack felt a profound sense of connection, not only to the land but to the lives that had shaped it, and he knew that the journey they had begun, guided by loyalty, curiosity, and respect for the past, would continue to reveal wonders, wisdom, and treasures beyond measure. Each step forward a testament to the quiet magic of exploration, discovery, and the enduring bond between a man and his dog. As the sun dipped lower behind the distant mountains, Jack Sullivan and Bolt paused at the edge of a small glade where the snow glimmered like crushed glass under the soft amber light. The wind gentle now, carrying with it the faint scent of pine sap and the earthy aroma of the melting frost. Jack knelt and brushed the snow from a cluster of moss-covered stones, revealing the worn markings of a long-forgotten trail, his fingers tracing the shallow grooves as though reading a story left by unseen hands. Bolt stepping lightly beside him, tail low but flicking in subtle signals, alert to every nuance of sound and scent. Jack's eyes lifted to the horizon, the vast expanse of the forest stretching endlessly, dotted with towering spruces and firs that had stood witness to countless winters. He allowed himself a moment to breathe in the crisp air, feeling the quiet rhythm of life around him. each rustle of leaves and gentle creak of branches a reminder of the continuity of the world. As he rose, he noticed a faint shimmer along the creek nearby where the water caught the last rays of sunlight, a soft glimmer that hinted at another hidden secret waiting to be discovered. Curiosity stirred within him, urging him forward, and with careful, measured steps, he followed the creek, Bolt padding silently beside him, ears flicking and nose twitching at every subtle change, the ground beneath them uneven but firm, carpeted with fallen needles and frost, the forest alive with subtle movement, the occasional bird call. Echoing through the trees, Jack reflected on the discoveries in the cabin and along the path, the artifacts and letters not just treasures of material value, but symbols of generosity, foresight, and the enduring human spirit, each item a story preserved through time. Bolt paused suddenly, paw tapping lightly against the frozen earth, nose pointed toward a dense thicket. Jack crouched and peered through the branches to see a small wooden box partially buried beneath fallen leaves and snow, its surface weathered, edges softened by years of exposure. He carefully cleared the debris, lifting the box with deliberate care, the weight solid and reassuring in his hands. As he pried the lid open, the inside revealed another layer of history, old photographs, small hand-carved tokens, and handwritten notes detailing moments of courage, kindness, and everyday miracles. Jack's breath caught as he gently examined each piece, feeling a deep connection to those who had come before, to the lives intertwined with the land, the forest around them quiet and accepting, the sunlight fading slowly, turning the snow and ice into a canvas of soft pastels. Jack placed the items carefully into his pack, Bolt brushing against his leg in quiet affirmation, the unspoken bond between man and dog strong and steady. Jack stood and surveyed the glade, the mountains beyond, the endless stretch of trees and hidden secrets. A sense of calm resolve settling over him, understanding that the journey was as much about preservation, reflection, and the careful attention to the past as it was about discovery. He inhaled deeply, the cool air filling his lungs, and felt a profound sense of gratitude for the quiet lessons the forest had shared, the treasures unearthed now a bridge between generations, a reminder that patience, curiosity, and a gentle hand could reveal wonders hidden in plain sight. And as they continued along the trail, Jack and Bolt moved with quiet purpose, the snow sparkling beneath their feet, the forest enveloping them in a hushed embrace, guiding them toward the next chapter of a journey filled with revelation, understanding, and the enduring magic of exploration. Jack Sullivan paused at the edge of a small ridge, the forest sprawling endlessly before him, each tree dusted with snow that sparkled in the soft evening light like fragments of glass. Bolt sitting faithfully by his side, ears pricked and amber eyes scanning the shadows, the gentle murmur of a distant creek mingling with the whisper of the wind through bare branches. Carrying the subtle scent of pine and cold earth, Jack exhaled slowly, letting the tranquility settle over him, the weight of the discoveries pressing gently but firmly on his mind. Each coin, letter, and carved token a story of foresight and kindness passed down through the decades. He ran his gloved fingers along the edge of a smooth stone, tracing the shallow carvings that hinted at hidden pathways and safe havens, imagining the hands that had made them, the care and patience required to leave such enduring marks. The forest seemed to listen, the quiet broken only by the soft crunch of snow under their feet as he moved toward a small clearing where the sunlight caught a cluster of ice-encrusted ferns, the delicate frost glinting like tiny diamonds. Jack knelt and examined the base of an ancient oak, roots curling and weaving in natural lattice, the hollow beneath revealing another small bundle wrapped in linen, careful and deliberate, containing faded maps and notes that complemented those from the cabin. Bolt sniffing at the bundle, tail flicking gently. Jack unwrapped it slowly, savoring the subtle fragrance of old paper and cloth, each document a window into the past, detailing the efforts of those who had safeguarded treasures and knowledge. Jack's heart lifted with a quiet awe, feeling the threads of connection across time, the light shifting as the sun sank lower, casting long, golden beams through the trees, illuminating the snow and the scattered artifacts in a soft glow, the air filled with the gentle hush of evening. a promise of rest and reflection. He carefully placed the maps and notes into his pack. Understanding the responsibility of preserving and interpreting what he had uncovered, Bolt nudged his side, a reminder of loyalty and shared purpose. Jack rose and gazed across the forest, seeing the mountains in the distance, the valleys blanketed in snow, the sun painting the peaks with warm amber light. A sense of peace and anticipation intertwining as he considered the journey ahead, each step forward a chance to honor the past, while embracing the unknown, the forest around them alive with subtle motion, the soft stir of wind in branches, the distant call of a bird. Jack and Bolt moving slowly through the glade, mindful of the beauty and history surrounding them, the quiet companionship of dog and man anchoring him. Jack felt a deep connection to the lives that had come before, to the land that had witnessed countless winters, and to the silent stories etched into the earth, each artifact and map a bridge across generations, the world holding its breath in the fading light, the snow sparkling like scattered stars, the air crisp and fragrant, Jack's resolve steadying, knowing that the discoveries were only the beginning of a journey filled with wonder, insight, and the gentle magic of patient observation, the forest embracing them in its silent, enduring rhythm, guiding them toward the next revelation, while the warmth of purpose and quiet gratitude suffused every step. Each movement through the snow a meditation on history, loyalty, and the unfolding mysteries that awaited in the hidden corners of the world. The late afternoon light shifted to a gentle amber, casting elongated shadows across the snow-covered forest floor as Jack Sullivan and Bolt continued along the winding trail, the crisp air filling Jack's lungs with a sharp clarity that seemed to awaken every sense, the faint scent of pine and damp earth mingling with the subtle aroma of melting snow, his boots crunching softly against the frost-laden ground, each step deliberate, measured, and mindful, the world around them alive with subtle motion, a distant bird call echoing faintly through the towering spruces, the creek nearby murmuring gently as it flowed beneath a thin sheet of ice. Bolt moving with quiet vigilance, nose low and tail sweeping gently, guiding Jack toward an area where the forest floor dropped slightly, revealing a hidden hollow that had been obscured by brush and fallen branches. Jack knelt and brushed away the snow, uncovering a weathered wooden chest partially embedded in the mossy earth, its surface rough and edges softened by decades of exposure to the elements. The box exuding a faint scent of aged wood and earth, a tangible connection to the past. He carefully pried it open with gloved hands, revealing an assortment of objects within, faded photographs, small handcrafted figurines, and carefully folded papers with delicate handwriting that detailed stories of generosity, resilience, and hope passed from one person to another over the years. Jack's heart lifted as he examined each item, the intricate details speaking of lives lived with purpose and quiet attention. The forest seemed to exhale around them, the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind and the soft creak of distant branches providing a subtle accompaniment to the profound stillness. He carefully arranged the contents of the chest on a flat patch of snow-dusted ground, sunlight catching the edges of the photographs and making them shimmer, Bolt nudging his leg gently, as if to affirm the significance of the discovery. Jack traced the lines of writing and sketches, imagining the hands that had created them, the patience and care required to preserve such a record for someone yet unknown, the air growing cooler as the sun sank lower, casting a golden glow across the forest and turning the snow into a landscape of soft pastels. Jack felt a profound connection to the lives and intentions embedded in these hidden treasures, understanding that each piece was more than a material object, but a message, a bridge across time, conveying kindness, foresight, and enduring spirit. He packed the artifacts carefully into his satchel, ensuring that they would remain intact for reflection and preservation, the forest around them quiet, almost reverent, as they prepared to leave the clearing and continue their journey. Jack's gaze swept across the expanse of trees and distant mountains, the snow sparkling like scattered crystals in the waning light. Bolt remaining close, alert and steadfast, the bond between man and dog palpable in the shared awareness of discovery. Jack inhaled deeply, feeling a sense of purpose and gratitude that resonated through every fiber of his being. the path ahead winding through the forest with hidden promises, each step a continuation of the quiet exploration, the unfolding mystery, and the gentle unfolding of wonder, the forest, the snow, and the treasures unearthed all merging into a tapestry of memory, anticipation, and enduring magic, guiding Jack and Bolt forward with subtle insistence, the promise of new discoveries and profound understanding shimmering in the soft glow of the approaching evening, a reminder that patience, attentiveness, and compassion could reveal treasures hidden not only in the forest but in the history and humanity embedded within it. The sky above the Vermont forest had deepened into a soft indigo, the last hints of sunlight brushing the mountain peaks with a gentle rose-gold glow. Jack Sullivan stood quietly at the edge of the clearing, Bolt close at his side, ears alert to every faint rustle and distant bird call, the crisp evening air filling his lungs with the sharp scent of pine and cold earth. Jack's gaze swept over the snow-dusted trees and frozen creek below, each branch and icy surface glimmering with the lingering warmth of the day, the artifacts and documents from the cabin and the hidden hollow secured carefully in his pack. He felt the weight of responsibility and privilege settle over him, the sense that he was now a steward of a history preserved through the careful hands and intentions of those who had come before. Bolt nudged his leg gently, reminding him that companionship and loyalty were just as important as the discoveries themselves. Jack crouched briefly to examine the path ahead, noting footprints and subtle impressions in the snow that spoke of animals, travelers, and the quiet passage of time. Each mark a reminder that the forest held countless stories waiting to be noticed and honored. He rose and took a slow, deliberate step forward, following the natural contours of the land toward a grove where the trees thinned, sunlight from the setting sun streaming through in warm, fractured beams, illuminating patches of snow that glittered like scattered gems. The forest alive with subtle movement, the distant creek murmuring beneath its thin ice, and a soft wind whispering through the boughs above. Jack allowed himself a moment to reflect, the treasures and messages uncovered revealing not only material value but a narrative of human kindness, foresight, and resilience. Bolt moving silently beside him, the dog's attentive presence a grounding force in the quiet grandeur of the wilderness. Jack's thoughts wandered to the people whose care and patience had hidden these treasures, the generations whose efforts had bridged the past to the present, each object and note a testament to hope preserved across decades. As they moved deeper into the grove, the air shimmered faintly with the cool breath of evening, the snow crunching softly beneath their feet. Jack feeling a sense of awe at the continuity of the world around him, the interweaving of nature and human intention, each step guided by careful observation, the forest seeming to acknowledge their presence, the long shadows stretching across the icy ground lending a sense of depth and serenity. Jack paused to place his hand on the trunk of a towering spruce, rough bark beneath his fingers, the energy of the forest pulsing subtly, a rhythm that seemed to echo the heartbeat of those who had walked here before. Bolt resting calmly, tail low and flicking slightly. Jack felt a profound connection to the land, to the stories preserved within it, and to the quiet magic of discovery that had led them here, the twilight deepening into a gentle indigo, snow sparkling like tiny stars under the soft glow of the fading light. Jack inhaled deeply, the cold air filling his lungs with clarity and calm, and as he and Bolt continued along the winding trail toward the next hidden corner of the forest, Jack's heart lifted with gratitude, understanding that the journey was as much about honoring the past, observing the present, and embracing the mysteries yet to be revealed. Each step forward a continuation of exploration, reflection, and connection, the forest enveloping them in a quiet, enduring embrace, guiding them gently toward the wonders that still waited to be uncovered beneath the snow-dusted trees and within the hidden folds of the land. Jack Sullivan carefully descended the gentle slope toward a narrow valley where the forest opened just enough to reveal a small frozen pond reflecting the dimming sky, the surface smooth and glassy, catching the muted pinks and purples of twilight as the day gave way to evening. Bolt moved silently beside him, tail low and ears alert, scanning every sound and movement with unerring focus, the crisp air filling Jack's lungs with a mix of pine, frost, and the subtle earthy aroma of damp soil. Beneath the snow, he paused to take in the scene. The quiet so complete it seemed to wrap around them like a protective cloak, the gentle hum of distant wind through the tall spruces providing a rhythm to the stillness. Jack knelt to examine a cluster of stones partially hidden at the edge of the pond, their surfaces dusted with fresh snow and etched with faint markings that hinted at a hidden purpose or story. As he brushed the frost away, he uncovered a small iron box tucked beneath the roots of a leaning birch, its edges worn smooth by time and weather, Bolt nudging his side softly, as if encouraging him to proceed with care and attention. Jack lifted the lid gently to reveal more carefully preserved artifacts, faded maps, folded letters, and a few small keepsakes that seemed insignificant individually, but together formed a mosaic of lives, intentions, and care passed down through years of secrecy. The sun dipped lower behind the mountains, scattering golden light through the branches and turning the snow into a field of softly sparkling crystals. Jack arranged the items on the frozen ground, letting the glow illuminate each piece. Feeling the subtle weight of history and responsibility in his hands, Bolt sat calmly, eyes attentive, ears flicking at every whisper of wind or rustle of snow. Jack ran his fingers over the letters, the delicate script speaking of hope, foresight, and quiet acts of kindness that had been preserved for decades. He thought about the people who had hidden these treasures, the care they had taken, the trust they had placed in the unknown, and a sense of awe and gratitude filled him. The forest around them alive with subtle movement, shadows stretching across the snow, the creek murmuring softly nearby, carrying the faint scent of moss and ice. Jack lifted his gaze to the horizon, the vast expanse of trees, hills, and distant mountains reminding him of the continuity of life and the enduring presence of those who had come before. He carefully packed the artifacts back into his satchel, each item a testament to patience, generosity, and the enduring magic of quiet discovery. Bolt brushing against his leg as they prepared to leave the clearing, the dog's presence a grounding reminder of loyalty and companionship, the forest holding them gently in its embrace as the light waned. Jack felt a deep connection to the land, the history it held, and the unfolding journey ahead, the snow sparkling beneath the soft glow of the twilight sky. Every step forward a continuation of exploration, reflection, and reverence, the forest guiding them with quiet insistence, each moment a bridge between the past and present, illuminating the profound wonder that lay in patience, attentiveness, and the simple courage to uncover the hidden treasures waiting quietly beneath the snow and within the folds of time. Jack and Bolt moving together, the bond between man and dog strengthened by shared discovery, ready to embrace whatever revelations awaited them as the evening settled softly over the winter forest. The first stars began to twinkle faintly above the Vermont forest as Jack Sullivan and Bolt made their way along the snow-covered path, the evening settling into a quiet, contemplative stillness, each breath forming small clouds in the crisp air, the pine-scented breeze whispering through the branches and rustling the delicate layer of frost on the ground. Jack's boots crunching softly with each step, Bolt moving silently at his side, alert and responsive to the slightest change in the environment, the weight of the discoveries they had made earlier pressing gently on Jack's mind, a mixture of wonder, gratitude, and responsibility that seemed to harmonize with the forest around them. He paused at the edge of a small hill, looking down into a hollow where the snow shimmered under the soft glow of moonlight filtering through the trees, the frozen creek curling gracefully through the valley below, the sound of trickling water faint but persistent beneath its icy covering. Jack knelt briefly to examine a cluster of footprints in the snow, some animal, some his own from earlier, the patterns weaving a story across the landscape. Bolt nudging his leg with quiet insistence, guiding him toward a low stone wall half buried in frost. Jack brushed the snow from the top, revealing a series of carved symbols faint but distinct, their meaning hidden yet somehow familiar. The artifacts and letters from the cabin now resting securely in his pack. He ran a gloved hand along the edges of the carvings, feeling the subtle grooves and ridges beneath his fingertips, a tactile connection to the hands that had created them. The care and patience embedded in each stroke resonating with the quiet determination Jack had felt throughout his journey, the forest around them alive with subtle movement, The occasional whisper of wind through the pines, the distant call of an owl, and the soft murmur of the creek providing a serene soundtrack to the unfolding evening. Jack stood slowly, letting the calm of the scene fill him. The interplay of light and shadow on snow, the crisp air, and Bolt's loyal presence forming a tapestry of sensory clarity and quiet wonder. He breathed in deeply, absorbing the sense of continuity and the timeless rhythm of the natural world, reflecting on the journey from the ruined cabin to this secluded valley, each step a bridge between past and present. The people whose efforts had preserved the treasures, and the enduring lessons of patience, kindness, and foresight. Jack's gaze lifted to the distant mountains, their snow-capped peaks fading softly into the indigo sky, a sense of peace settling over him. The bond with Bolt strengthened by shared experiences and the unspoken understanding between them. Each artifact, each document, each discovered object now a symbol of connection, guidance, and the subtle magic of history and human care. Jack continued along the path, careful and deliberate, each step bringing him deeper into reflection, appreciation, and a sense of wonder, the forest embracing them in quiet majesty, guiding them gently toward whatever further revelations and insights might await. The snow sparkling faintly beneath the starlight, the air crisp and steady, the forest and the night wrapping around them as if acknowledging the journey, a gentle, enduring reminder that attention, loyalty, and reverence for the past could uncover treasures not just of material worth, but of profound meaning and connection. Jack and Bolt moving forward together, carrying the legacy of discovery and the quiet, sustaining magic of the forest with them into the night. The night had settled fully over the Vermont forest, painting the sky in deep indigo with faint stars scattered like pinpricks of light. Jack Sullivan and Bolt moved carefully through the snow-covered path, the crisp air filling Jack's lungs with a sharp clarity that seemed to heighten every sense, the scent of pine and cold earth mingling with the faint trace of melting snow, each step soft yet deliberate, the crunch beneath his boots rhythmic and grounding. Bolt padding closely, ears high and eyes alert to every whisper of movement in the dark, the forest around them alive with subtle sounds, the creak of branches, the distant trickle of water beneath ice, the gentle rustle of nocturnal creatures stirring unseen. Jack paused briefly on a small rise to gaze across the valley below, the snow glinting faintly under the starlight, reflecting silver and pale blue hues. A frozen pond nestled among the trees like a hidden jewel, his breath forming small clouds in the night air as he considered the path that had brought him here, the discoveries in the cabin, the hidden hollow, the carefully preserved artifacts now safely tucked in his pack, each item a testament to patience, foresight, and quiet acts of generosity from those who had come before. Bolt nudged his leg gently, a silent reminder of loyalty and companionship, and Jack felt a deep sense of connection not just to the forest, but to the lives and intentions that had shaped it, the snow underfoot sparkling faintly as he took another step, the trees standing tall and watchful, shadows stretching across the ground in the glow of the distant moon. Jack's fingers brushed against the bark of a spruce, rough yet steady, grounding him in the moment, the rhythm of his heartbeat harmonizing with the subtle pulses of the forest. He knelt at the edge of a clearing where the ground sloped toward a cluster of boulders partially covered in frost, brushing away the snow to reveal another carefully hidden envelope wrapped in faded ribbon, the paper delicate, the handwriting precise and deliberate. Jack lifted it gently and unfolded the pages to find more notes detailing maps, observations, and personal reflections from generations past, the wind carrying a faint fragrance of pine and damp soil through the clearing, the forest holding its quiet breath around them. Bolt sitting calmly, tail flicking slowly, Jack traced the lines of the text with his gloved fingers, feeling the continuity of human care across time, the intricate attention to detail, the thoughtful preservation of both objects and stories, each word resonating deeply within him. The stars above beginning to shimmer more brightly as darkness fully embraced the valley. Jack stood slowly, folding the papers carefully and placing them into his pack alongside the other treasures, his gaze sweeping across the landscape, the snow, the trees, the frozen creek winding silently below, the mountains rising beyond in gentle undulations. the quiet majesty of the forest a steady companion to his thoughts, each step forward a reminder that the journey was both outward and inward, discovery entwined with reflection. And as Jack and Bolt moved along the trail once more, the forest seemed to guide them with subtle insistence, shadows shifting, stars glimmering, the air crisp and filled with possibility. Jack felt the profound satisfaction of understanding that even the most hidden corners of the land held stories, lessons, and treasures, waiting patiently for those who observed with care. The quiet magic of the night, the companionship of his faithful dog, and the enduring resonance of history surrounding them, each step a bridge between past and present, guiding him toward the unfolding promise of further discoveries and the quiet, sustaining wonder that had carried them this far. As dawn broke over the Vermont forest, Jack Sullivan stood quietly at the edge of the ridge, the first light of day spilling across the snow-dusted trees and frozen creek below, casting a soft, warm glow over the landscape and turning the icy surfaces into a sparkling mosaic of color. Bolt beside him, ears high, tail gently sweeping, alert to every subtle shift in the air, Jack breathed deeply, the crisp, clean scent of pine and earth filling his lungs, the artifacts and letters from the cabin, and hidden hollows securely stored in his pack, each item a testament to the careful stewardship of those who had come before. He allowed himself a moment to absorb the serenity and vastness around him, the mountains rising like silent guardians in the distance, shadows stretching long across the snow, and the gentle murmur of the creek carrying a faint melody through the stillness. Jack began to descend slowly toward a small clearing where the morning light filtered through the branches in golden beams, illuminating the delicate frost on the ground and the soft glimmer of ice crystals hanging from pine needles. Bolt moving with quiet precision beside him, sniffing and pausing at intervals to mark the subtle signs of life in the forest. Jack knelt at the edge of a low stone wall partially obscured by snow, brushing the frost aside to reveal another carefully hidden box, its weathered wooden surface hinting at the careful thought of those who had concealed it. With deliberate, gentle movements, he opened the box to find more papers, small trinkets, and photographs, each telling a story of generosity, patience, and foresight, the wind stirring lightly through the branches, carrying the scent of pine, snow, and earth. Jack traced the handwriting and sketches, imagining the hands that had created them, the dedication and quiet hope invested in leaving such a legacy. Bolt nudged his side, a reminder of the loyal companionship that had accompanied every step of the journey. Jack rose and gazed across the valley, the sun now fully illuminating the landscape, the forest alive with gentle motion, the distant creek sparkling, and the snow reflecting the light in a delicate dance of brilliance. He felt the profound weight and joy of connection to history, nature, and the enduring human spirit, each artifact, each note, each photograph a bridge across time, a reminder that the world preserves the stories of those who act with care and intention. As Jack and Bolt moved through the clearing, following a narrow path that wound through the trees, the forest seeming to breathe with them, shadows and light shifting as the sun rose higher, the crisp air invigorating, carrying with it the promise of discovery and reflection. He paused to look back toward the cabin, now distant and shrouded in early morning mist, a silent sentinel to the journey undertaken. The treasures uncovered a symbol of patience, insight, and quiet courage. Jack's gaze swept the mountains, valleys, and snow-dusted trees before him, understanding that this day marked both a conclusion and a beginning. The lessons of the past intertwined with the possibilities of the present. And as he continued along the trail, Bolt faithfully by his side, Jack felt a sense of peaceful anticipation, a certainty that the path ahead, though hidden and uncertain, held opportunities for further revelation, growth, and connection, each step a continuation of the journey of discovery, reflection, and reverence. The forest and the treasures it had revealed standing as a lasting testament to the quiet, enduring magic of observation, patience, and loyalty. The snow sparkling softly under the morning sun, the air crisp and alive, the bond between man and dog unwavering, guiding them forward into the unfolding promise of all that was yet to be discovered.